record on this. Mm.
Yeah, we got it. Yep,
I mean, she's the gatekeeper.
She is.
Lets you know what's happening.
Dude, oh my gosh. I apologize. I need to step away for a minute.
Oh, okay. All right. Well,
I gotta make room for beer.
Oh, okay. All righty. Well, I think we might actually be live. I'm not really quite sure here. But if we are, hello to everybody. Yeah, it's the Evan and Aaron show, and I'm Aaron. And Evan, right as we began, decided that I think nature called. So in the meantime, greetings, everybody. Hope you have had an enjoyable Wednesday. Kind of a crummy, definite Indiana fall weather day. Getting ready for Thanksgiving. This is usually what happens. I think we're supposed to get a little bit more snow. And I say it every year, folks. I don't love it. I don't really love winter. I do like seasons. And I just don't recall winter being quite as crazy as we get nowadays. You know, I can remember some cold weather and I can remember some wet weather, but it was very rare that we got like 16-degree temperatures and also a shit ton of snow, or it would rain and then drop to freeze. I'm not saying it never happened, but still remember a whole lot of that. I don't remember missing a lot of school. Where I went to college was definitely had a lot more precipitation, but they were milder winters too. You got a lot more snow. Did you wash your hands? You're a good boy.
I did. I washed my hands.
Good boy.
Yes.
For 20 seconds.
I sang happy birthday.
All right.
I sang happy birthday, damn it.
All right.
Oh, man.
Well, I've been keeping people entertained by talking about the weather. So good thing Evan is back. And I think, there's we're just winging it. Again, didn't have really a lot of chance to check headlines and stuff. I know Evan's been busy. I had a busy day, not really. But the one thing that has stuck out, and I want to kind of come at it from a very specific angle because it really kind of drives home a particular point I see, and it's a very distinguishing point. But today, the House voted to censure Paul Gosar and strip him of all his committee assignments. Makes complete sense. I mean, the guy sent around a video, joking about, killing Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez and attacking President Biden. And, in and of itself, it's pretty stupid. It really isn't a big deal, but I think it goes to the decorum of where the parties are. But the one thing that I think is really, really telling is that the vote was basically across party lines. It was, every Democrat voted for it. Liz Cheney and Kinzinger voted for it. 3 other Republicans voted, they chose not to vote. And then everybody else voted against. And on the one hand, I guess I'm not surprised, and I'm not saying Democrats have never done it. We could go back and look at Bill Clinton's impeachment, but it just seems like not only is one party unwilling to hold itself accountable, but somehow they actually view it as their political strategy, that it would somehow make them look weak or something to admit that one of their own, had failings and made mistakes. And again, it's not like this is the first time this has happened. There were pictures of Gabby Giffords with bullseyes on her before she was shot. So we can see where the rhetoric can turn into actions. But my main focus here is how the Republicans can just never say, you know what, this guy stepped out of bounds. You're not wrong to censure him. It is not indicative of the Republican Party. We do not want this to be how we're perceived. But that's basically the line of argument they went with, that like a vote against him is a vote against all of us entire. Well, then you're saying you approve of what he's doing, that you approve of this type of political rhetoric. Evan, what makes Democrats way too quick to apologize? See Al Franken. And what makes Republicans incapable of admitting these failures? It's a human thing, isn't it?
Yeah, I mean, you hit it on the head. It is a human thing, and The Al Franken thing, I mean, there's so much that we could talk about regarding that. Not you pulled that one out of thin air, and it's a great example of the difference between the parties. But just looking at the Republican Party, that's exactly what they're going to have to do from this point on. They are in too deep. They're in too deep. And unless you are going to pull, unless you're going to pull a Jeff Flake and say, you know what, look, I can't be part of this anymore. I just need to go. Unless you're going to step out like Liz Cheney and know you're going to be, Adam Kinzinger, know that you're going to be primaried against, know that you're probably going to lose your seat, because I'm not sure we want to face the fact in this country yet, Aaron, that as much as we can't understand why these people are in Congress, we have to start taking a hard look at the fact that there are enough people voting them in. And we have to take a look at that. We've got to be able to, we can't tout the whole thing like, well, they're just let's just ignore them. We can't anymore. And this is the thing that I was talking to my significant other about today, and she's right. It's like, this is why we have to maximize the vote. We have got to get people out, and we've got to get them more involved in the civic process of being a citizen of the United States now more than ever, because we are realizing the numbers that are there. And we're not talking about crazy QAnon people. We're not talking about people who believe all the conspiracy stuff like that. We're talking about middle of the road Republicans, because they still are voting Republican.
Yeah.
And these are sane people. These are people that, quite frankly, that you can sit down and have a beer with and agree about everything. And they can look at you and sit there and say, yes, I agree with that. But when they get to the ballot box, they vote another way. You know what I mean? It's weird. It's like, what's going on there? So I think that it's the legislators saying, you know what, we cannot not tout the party line, because we are so far in now that if we do that, it literally is political suicide at this point.
Well, I don't disagree, but my pushback on that would be, you look at, Boebert and Green are two examples of people who took advantage of the political climate. They're in entirely, red states, red counties, and gamed the system. I think it was Marjorie Taylor Greene. The only person running against her was another Republican, and they managed to have so many death threats against that person that he dropped out of the race. So I don't think this is necessarily a situation of people consciously voting for Marjorie Taylor Greene, Lauren Boebert. I mean, I'm sure some do, but that's not who we're trying to reach out to. I think we're trying to reach out to the people who are, I'm a Republican. I've always been a Republican, and I'm going to vote Republican. And they vote straight ticket. And the problem is down ticket, you get some people that you don't know anything about.
Yep.
And they get into these positions, and now you're embarrassed by them. You should be embarrassed by them. Your vote helped carry them to Congress. And now they're saying and doing this political theater that, it's not the typical old school grandstanding that used to go on, and the hand wringing and the sermonizing. You now have people actively saying just patently untrue things, directly attacking the character of other members of Congress, and really making a mockery of the whole process. And, I do see exactly what you're saying, but the question is, in a state where it's always going to go red, you have to have a majority of Republicans say we don't want the kind of person that we've been putting forth. And right now, they don't have that kind of movement. There is no grassroots movement to take the Republican Party back from Trumpism and this incredibly hard right, authoritarian, we want to control. Ironically, we want to control every aspect of your life, even though we say we're Republicans and we're for limited government. We're for limited government so long as you say and do exactly what we want you to do.
Yep.
I don't know what the solution is because we're getting gerrymandered to hell.
Yeah. I think we're saying the same thing though, Aaron, because I mean, what I'm saying is exactly what you're saying is that these people, there's part of me that actually feels for moderate Republicans nowadays, both, in Congress and voters. I feel for them because I'm like, okay, on one hand, yes, you could stand up and you could totally, say, look, this is some bullshit. You could pull a Cheney, you could pull a Kinzinger, and chances are you're not going to be in office next year.
Right.
And you'd be viewed as, they took one for a team. But they are going to backfill that seat with somebody that will fall in line.
Yeah, even worse. Yeah.
Even worse. And so that's why I say that the Republican Party has gone so far that they cannot not toe the line. But in speaking about voters, it's going to take the voters saying enough is enough. You know what? If we don't have good candidates, we aren't going to vote.
Right.
Don't vote. Don't vote. If you can't bring yourself to vote for a Democrat, okay, that's fine. But are you going to vote for this just because you're a Republican? I'm like, that's one way to show your party, say, hey, look, we are not satisfied with the people who are there. But and I think the underlying factor is that because they have vilified and have lied about the Democratic agenda, they have instilled some incredible fear in the hearts of people who are Republicans that if Democrats get into power, they're taking away our guns. They're going to introduce socialism. Critical race theory is coming. A myriad of different things that they've introduced and interjected to create this Democratic monster that you want to keep at bay. And so it's like, we have to dissect that. And the Democrats have to come up with a plan in order to speak against that. And I think that this new infrastructure bill could be the beginnings of that if it is communicated correctly.
I read today that they plan to really hit the trail, talk about what a positive thing this is. And they need to sprinkle in some of the other positives that are going on too. They need to talk about how the supply chain is finally getting reduced, that there are 29% fewer containers just sitting in ports now than there were 3 to 5 months ago. They need to talk about how, Biden is trying to see what's going on with oil prices and gas prices. Right. They need to point out that for those who believe the vaccine rollout has been a success, that we've managed to get it to the people who want it and need it the most, that good things are happening. And by the way, you still have your guns. There is no socialism. You can't explain to me what critical race theory is. So I've shot down your first 3 points right there. Meanwhile, that bridge that you've been afraid to drive across is getting fixed.
Yep.
The hospitals.
You can eat turkey with grandma this year.
Yeah. Yeah. And honestly, this seems like an easy victory lap, but it needs to be a coordinated effort. Joe Biden needs to go where Joe Biden has his popularity. Kamala needs to go where she has her popularity. Buttigieg needs to get out of there once paternity leave is over and bang the drum on infrastructure. We need to, the Democrats need to find the most eloquent and passionate spokespeople they can to get out there and counteract this ridiculous notion that Democrats are trying to change America in such a way that you won't recognize it. No, the Democrats, I think, are trying to change the country in pursuit of the ideals that everybody says they believe in, but have conveniently ignored for a long time.
I've got a question for you, man. And this is something that I think is intriguing if you can pull it off. And I think Joe Biden, I don't know, he could pull it off. How risky would it be for him to pull in a Republican or two that actually voted for the bill? You know what I mean?
Look, Liz Cheney doesn't have anything to do now. Adam Kinzinger doesn't have much to do now. Jeff Flake doesn't have much to do now. These are precisely the people that you need to go to these areas and say, look, you can dislike Democrats all you want because you watch too much Tucker Carlson. But the reality is,
but look what we did when we were
they're accomplishing things. And it was a bipartisan bill. You're never going to get Mitch McConnell to stump for it. But I mean, you had a guy today taking credit for the bill, even though he voted against it. Hey, great thing. We've been trying to get this going on in Alabama. Well, you didn't do it, dude. And that's where Kamala Harris needs to show up and say, you know what? We did this. We made this happen.
Your representative voted no.
Yeah. And when you see how this benefits you, when your children can get health care, when your children can go to school, when there's a thriving economy, by the way, they underestimated the number of jobs that got added in the last quarter. So we're adding jobs. The economy is booming. We're coming out of this ridiculous supply chain issue. People are getting back to work in different ways. We just passed an infrastructure bill.
Yeah.
Why there's so much fucking doom and gloom is, well, it would be beyond me if I didn't understand cable news.
Well, I think one of the things as far as the supply chain thing goes, can you find regular Fritos anywhere?
I cannot. Honestly,
it's this weekend, man. Come
it's
on.
Very apropos that you said that because I wanted Fritos scoops and cheese dip to watch the games the other day, and I got the dip, but there was no. I didn't have to wait a couple days. I finally got a hold of the Tostitos scoops.
Oh, okay. You were like, I can't do it. I can't wait anymore.
Can't wait.
That's the thing. Biden, please fix that. You know what?
Yeah.
Please fix that. We need regular Fritos in our life. We live in Indiana, so we need regular Fritos in our life.
My Cheetos are still showing up, so I'm happy about that. But I feel it's chili time, and you got to have your Fritos with your chili. There's no question about that.
You got you.
For those of you not from the Midwest, take it from us. You're missing out. Quick question for you.
Yeah.
Especially because you're an Ohio guy. Noodles in your chili or not?
No, I knew it. No.
Really? No?
No.
Okay.
No.
My grandmother.
Now, here's the thing. I literally do not hate noodles in the chili. I don't. It's fine. It's cool. I'm like, you know what? I adapt to where I live. But if I had to make a batch of chili right now.
Well, it's a point of contention around here because my grandmother's chili was I would call it more a Cincinnati style chili. It had a sweetness to it, a little bit of cinnamon to it. It did have beans, but she made it with macaroni noodles.
See, we call that chili mac.
Yeah. Load that shit up with cheese, get some Fritos or some crackers. Yeah.
It's all good. It's all good.
Yeah.
You know?
Well, and you've got people who don't even want to acknowledge that Cincinnati style chili is chili because they're Texas people and chili to them is just a big hunk of meat in its own oil. Apparently, I'm not quite sure what the deal is with that, but I love Cincinnati style chili.
I don't have any beef with Texas people, but
no pun intended.
That's good. That's good. See, I didn't even recognize it. Poet don't even know it. But I'm telling you, Texas chili's fine. Cincinnati chili, man. Cincinnati chili. I'm sorry. It's a Midwest. Maybe it is a very specific Midwest thing. Maybe it's only an Indiana, Kentucky, Ohio thing. I don't know, but
I love it. Skyline, Gold Star, all that stuff, man. Love it. And I go to a good like local Greek place, and they'll have something on the menu. They won't be calling it chili. They might call it Greek spaghetti or something like that. But chances are that's what you're running into.
Yep, absolutely. You put a plate of that on top of your head, your tongue will beat your brains out to get to it, my friend.
Yeah,
That's
absolutely.
Exactly.
So continuing with the theme of, at least some accountability for GOSAR, cereal.
Which by the way, the Hey Aaron segment has a little bit to do with that.
Okay.
So,
Cereal alcoholic portrayer and homeless impersonator Steve Bannon finally, was indicted and surrendered to the FBI. And then he said this is going to be the harshest misdemeanor ever for Biden and Kamala and the White House and all this stuff. I mean, the fact remains, the guy made it very clear. I mean, he bragged about saying, everybody stay tuned, some big shit's coming tomorrow. Well, you knew something, dude. You knew something beforehand. You probably helped plan it. Hopefully Merrick Garland is an ace and knows what he's doing here. And, I don't know ultimately what you charge him with. I don't know if sedition or treason. Well, that's for sure. But it seems like you could go after him for a variety of things. And certainly the Commonwealth of Washington, D.C. Could go after him because that's where the violence took place. But it's just nice to see somebody being held accountable. The fact that they released him until his arraignment is going to be interesting. Because honestly, I do think he's a flight risk. I could see him ended up in Belarus on TV with the other insurrectionist guy that fled and that they're putting all over cable news over there. But do you think this is a first step? Do you think we're going to see more and more people? I mean, he's basically been arrested for, contempt of Congress, not the crimes he committed. Right. But do you think they're going to go after the others the way they have Meadows and the other people who've sort of failed to comply?
Man, I don't know. It's so complex for me because, I mean, life is all about framing, right? And so if my mind automatically goes to if Steve Bannon was a black man, that brother be under the jail. I mean, I'm sorry. I had to say it.
Or Kyle Rittenhouse.
Yeah, or Kyle. Yes, exactly. If Kyle Rittenhouse, and we may talk about this later, but I'm gonna say it. If Kyle Rittenhouse was black, there would not be all this media hype.
Well, there wouldn't be a trial because he'd have been shot dead the second he walked toward the police holding a weapon.
Oh no, this has been open shut case.
Yeah.
This was it. Yeah, he got 20, 25 easy. That would have been first.
I just don't think he'd have survived the night. I mean, if he'd have done, if a black Kyle Rittenhouse would have just shot people and then walked up to police holding an AR-15, looking like he's been in a gunfight, they would have at least shot him somewhere. Yep. Maybe not in the back 7 times.
But I think we can look at this because I'm going to live with the mantra in Merrick Garland we trust. Okay, so because I'm just like, I think that the guy he's got an even keel demeanor. I think that he knows the law backwards and forward. The guy that's his life. And I don't think you risk your livelihood like this, especially when you don't have a president like Trump breathing down your neck. Yes, yeah. I'm sure that Biden. No, I want to take that back. I think from the very beginning, Biden said, "Hey, the Justice Department does what the Justice Department does," and I really want to believe that he stood by that. Yeah. Do we know exactly what happened behind closed doors? No, we don't. But we can definitely tell by the actions that have taken place. It has taken time for this to happen. It has not been a knee-jerk type thing. And so I think that is very much Merrick Garland's MO. I think that's how he works. That's how the department works. And I really think that they have built into this some teeth to make this kind of stick.
I want to believe that, but they need to light a fire under it because this all needs to be coming to a conclusion by about October of next year, because it can't get to a point where the Democrats potentially lose control of Congress, and then it's just going to be a hand-waving exercise at that point. That everything will come to a screeching halt, and they will begin searching for anything they possibly can to go after Biden and Kamala and whoever they want. What could happen next year and in 2024? I mean, we've been saying it for a while now, and I absolutely believe it's true. It had Donald Trump won office in 2020, we would be having a whole other conversation right now. And if bad things happen in 2022 and 2024, I think I'm going to be doing this broadcast from an undisclosed location
Will we become Alex Jones? Will we become like the opposite of Alex Jones? Is
Well,
that what's
right,
gonna
yeah.
Oh my God.
No,
Wow.
at that point, at 50 years old, I don't know if I'll have it in me to lead the rebellion.
Yeah, no, you know what? I'm gonna be the yeah, I think I'm going to be the Cornell West, the next incarnation of Cornell West.
Hmm.
I'm not sure how old he is.
Don't lose your way,
Cornell,
brother, man. Cornell has
you
gone
know,
off the rails a little bit.
yeah, I know, but I'm just like, hey, look, man, yeah, I'm gonna inspire y'all young brothers to kind of take this up because yeah, there's a lot of gray here, brother. I'm
Yeah.
just like, I'm tired.
Yeah.
God. But yeah, no, I think you're on to something. I think that yes, they do need to speed it up. They do need to hurry up and make this happen. But I think in the meantime, I think right now they've got it under control. You
Mhm.
know, Bannon's doing what Bannon does, and that's okay.
Do you think if Mueller had been a bit more aggressive, we could have maybe avoided some things, or was it always inevitable that no matter what evidence he brought forth, he was going to lose? They were not going to convict on impeachment.
He had to keep it veiled. I think he had to keep it veiled. I think there was plenty of things in the Mueller report that led us to where we are now.
Mhm.
Honestly, I don't think we give him enough credit because the guy had to play political tightrope. I think that if he would have pulled the trigger, he would have not been able to stay in and investigate as long as he did.
Yeah.
And uncover the stuff that he did.
Well, he'd have been fired, which is ironic. I mean, the whole state of play with all that is really kind of interesting because, when you're investigating your boss for all intents and purposes, and you uncover the dirt on the boss, at some point in time, the boss can just fire you. And I'm a little surprised that's not what happened. Maybe there were enough advisors around Trump saying that will be the worst look ever. Didn't stop him with Comey.
But he had the fake news thing. I mean, he could always come back to fake news, and it worked. It's still working. So anyway, ladies and gentlemen, we have reached the halftime of the Evan and Aaron show. And this is the time where if you don't know, this is the time where we take a halftime shot. And as it looks right now, it's probably going to be YouTubers who are taking the halftime shot with us, my friend. So
quite all right.
What do you got? Yeah, what do you got for us this week, man? What's up?
You know what? If we're still going with the random concept, I'm going to say shout out to Mike Woodson, as the new head coach of Indiana University. He played at Indiana University under Bob Knight, ended up playing in the NBA, and ended up being a coach with the New York Knicks for a while, I think it was.
Right. Yeah.
And he took the job at IU, and there's a buzz around the program. He's getting a lot of good recruits. He's getting good action out of the guys so far. And they've got an interesting test tonight in St. John's. But right now there's positivity around a program that for the last couple of head coaches have really struggled to maintain that. And I think Woodson understands the modern collegiate player, recognizing you're not going to always have 4-year kids. Some of these guys want to go pro. You can't have it both ways. You can't say you want to have a nationally competitive, let's win a title program, but also that all your kids stick around for 4 years and they're these blue chip A+, scholars. That's, unfortunately, that's just not how collegiate athletics work. And you're going to have to you're going to have to say, all right, maybe there's going to be a couple kids that only stick around for 2 years, and this is their jumping off point for the NBA. Can you get me a title in those 2 years? That's what John Calipari is doing, and I in no way want to copy what he is doing. But I mean, Tom Izzo at Michigan State has figured out how to make this work. I mean, he's one of the most respected coaches in the country. Has a great program, churns out good kids, fights for titles. But not everybody sticks around for 4 years. Nobody's mad at his kids. I mean, there's a lot of good programs around, and hopefully Woodson can get IU back on track and get us fighting for those titles where we should be. So this is my hat tip to Mr. Woodson.
All right. I got to follow suit with that, my friend. I am going to cheers up another ball coach, Lincoln Riley. And in Oklahoma, with the whole quarterback thing and them losing this past week and all that stuff, he's still one of the stand-up guys in college football. And I just got all kinds of respect for the guy. Not to mention, my significant other's, hometown team.
Sure.
So just staying on the good side
Right.
of that. But seriously, the guy's a genius. They had a down game this past week, but boy, I tell you what, they'll bounce back, and I see them win the Big 12, and probably, depending on what happens, I think with Ohio State, we've got a tough schedule, man. I hate to say it, but this may be the year. This may be the year that the team up north gets us. But that being said, to the old ball coach in Norman, Oklahoma, Slanky. Woo.
Let's stick with sports ball for a minute. Yeah, and we had an interesting international window here. A lot of good games. Sticking close to home. Yet again, the U.S. men's national team used Ohio as a fortress to churn out yet another Dos Acero over the Mexican national team. It was a cagey first half, I thought. I think it was a little bit back and forth. It was good. There's two good teams playing. I liked a lot more what I saw out of this. It was maybe a little too open at times. Second half, though, really came into the game. And then Captain America, Boy Wonder, came off the bench, scored with his very first touch. And then Weston McKinney with a fortunate bounce, we'll say, to land at his feet with everything that was going on there. But it was just reward for the way he had played all night long and the way he's played over the last few months and kept his head high. So a tremendous performance and definitely what the United States needed. And that put them atop the group. But then they turn around and go down to Jamaica. And for all intents and purposes, I thought the first half, or at least the first half of the first half, was basically picking up where they'd left off. They had good energy, really incisive movement. Tim Weah looking really strong. As an aside, just if we can keep him healthy, if he can stay healthy, this is a young up and comer that could end up playing for a major European club somewhere. It's not like he doesn't already.
Right.
But
the angle on that goal, man. Oh my God, you had to be right on. You had to be exact.
His pace, his passing, his willingness to work are really incredible. Unfortunately, Jamaica hit a wonder goal. Mikhail Antonio just launched a rocket. I don't know that anybody in the world saves that. He picked his spot.
Our good buddy said, well, I think maybe Tim Howard at his best could say, I don't know, man.
I don't think anybody saves that. The only people I'm seeing making that save is somebody like a Thibaut Courtois, who's just so big, so long, because every goalie was going to have pretty much the same starting position. I love David De Gea and he's athletic, but I mean, he would have had to have.
He and Mindy maybe touch it.
Well, Mindy because of his size, for sure. But I mean, Thibaut Courtois, as far as I know, is the top and biggest goalie around him. I think he's like 6'8" or something like that. His wingspan's massive. I don't think anybody's getting to that ball. It was just a hell of a hit. But more importantly, it lifted Jamaica and really put American heads down. And then, that first goal was crucial for the United States because that pitch was terrible. I don't know if you saw any close-ups of it, but that was a cow field, man. It was really bad. It was tearing up all night long. Just glad there weren't injuries. So getting an early goal was helpful because then the United States could have just played some possession, not worried about having to be incisive in their attack. Unfortunately, that didn't happen. But boy, as that game wore on, I didn't really think Jamaica got all that much better, especially in the second half. But man, the U.S. boys just looked tired, a little beat down. Yes. Jamaica's got some tremendous athletes, but they weren't really hurting us with technical play. They just tackled hard, made sure you knew they were there. And they
were a little faster than we were.
they're not bad, and they got a result. Here's the thing: an away result, an away tie after a win in CONCACAF. This is a 4-point window. I'm not mad about it. We're in second place after Canada completely CONCACAF'd Mexico last night.
Canada.
Well, somebody joked today on Twitter that congratulations to Anchorage, Alaska for hosting the next U.S. men's national home qualifier against Mexico.
Yes, that's awesome.
I've never thought of, I've been to Columbus in the fall for these games for several Dos Aceros, and they've been cold. But I mean, if you really want to intimidate them, you go up to RFK Stadium in New England or something like that, right? I mean, that's where you put them. Or
go to Gillette. Man.
Yeah, I was gonna say what was the RFK is not there. What's the snow game? The snow game in Colorado a few years back against
the Raiders. It was the
no.
Raiders, wasn't it?
No, I'm talking about a World Cup qualifier. The U.S. played against, I think, Costa Rica or Honduras several years ago, and it was a must-win game. And they were snow shoveling snow off the field at like dead ball intervals. That's how much snow was coming down. There's a picture of. Do you remember Jermaine Jones? And he had kind of a small fro, and he looked like he was a snow globe, man. It was just covered in snow. It was
wow.
But yeah, I mean, mixed results. But I tell you what, the best we saw from them against Mexico in that first 20 minutes against Jamaica, if they can start turning this into 60 minutes, 75 minutes, 90 minutes of this kind of quality from this young group. I mean, last night we started the second youngest lineup ever in a World Cup qualifier, 22 and a half years old.
There it is, man.
There's a lot. Yeah, there you go, Jermaine, looking like a snow globe. It was Costa Rica. There's a lot to be excited about with this group. There is criticism. I would say that, for everybody bitching about Greg Berhalter, and he does have some shortcomings, but they got it right against Mexico last Friday. And last night was not on Greg Berhalter. Last night was on the players who need to themselves recognize our energy levels aren't where they need to be. We're not playing the way we were in that first 20, 25 minutes of the game that was causing them problems. What was your takeaway? Who excites you? What have you seen to either be pro or con about right now?
Pepe was not himself last night, man. I don't know what it was, and it wasn't just him. It was several players. I love the energy that Pooley has coming off the bench.
Mm-hmm.
I understand.
I think it might be the better way to go.
I do. I think I understand why to bring him off the bench, because he does. I mean, that is your premier player on the squad. I mean, he just is.
Yeah.
And so, I think that's a good move. I think
Tuchel seems to think so as well.
Yeah. Well, there you go. Yeah. And I'm partially speaking as a Chelsea fan, because I'm like, oh.
Well, but I think it makes sense. You either look at Pulisic and say, okay, he's the captain of the team and he plays absolutely no matter what, you have him on the field, or you know what, we need to pick and use how to use this guy. And as I said, a couple times ago, this team needs to figure out its identity without Christian Pulisic. It needs to figure out who it is without having to rely on one particular person. Recognize that you've got. I'm sorry. To me, McKennie, Musa, and Adams is the bigger key, because if they control midfield, chances will get created, and Pepe will get the service that he wasn't getting last night.
Boy, I tell you, the midfield, and you're right. Those three, they just everybody looked just gassed.
Yeah.
And I don't know if it was because, like you said, the pitch, and it requires, more effort to kind of, stop and start and, just going through the slog that was that field in Kingston. But boy, they did look tired. However, I think that, like I said, I do think having Pulley come off the bench is great. I would have liked to have seen someone else take those free kicks and allow him to kind of create in the box. I mean, I just want to see what happens. I just want to see what happens. That's all. I mean, if he's your best player let's put him in a place to where he can make a play. And I'm just saying, like I said, his deliveries last night were not good. I'm gonna be honest. Pulisic's deliveries into the box, they
I don't think he's
okay.
unless he's taking a shot on goal. I don't really think he's our best dead ball taker. He's good, but
Did you see this? Io, we may have to have an impromptu 5 minutes of.
What I'll say, yes, I have seen it. There's been a lot of discussion. Apparently, I'm not sure how much I buy this, but he's been linked more than one time with Barcelona lately. And while I'm not so sure he's quite at that level yet, his durability would certainly be a whole lot less questioned in a league like Spain. There's just not the tackling, there's just not the pace of play. So I could see it. He's had a variety of injuries. They're all soft tissue stuff, which says that, look, Ryan Giggs, Michael Owen, you had a lot of guys who suffered these hamstring, calf, ankle injuries that really were problematic for their career. If he can find, we saw it when they resumed the league last year. He had a run of 6 or 8 games where he was the man, absolutely the man. And then he broke down again, which is kind of to be expected for the stop-start season they had, but you can see what he's capable of. Christian Pulisic is on the verge of being a world-class player. It requires him playing consistently, healthily with other quality players around him.
Yes. You're right. I don't see him going anywhere else. He needs Mason Mount. He needs Ben Chilwell. Mm-hmm. He needs those guys who are going to be able to be there with him to help him, because if it's all on him, it's not going to happen.
Well, and again, I go back to McKennie, Musa, and Tyler Adams. Tyler Adams is locked down, protects the back four, has some game to him, but he covers every blade of grass. Yunus Musa is just something special. I don't even think we know exactly what he's ultimately going to be. And Weston McKennie has just turned himself into a tremendous box-to-box midfielder. I think what you saw last night was, McKennie was missing through suspension. They played Gianluca Busio, who's playing really, really well for Venezia in Venice right now. But Busio's game is to drop deep, receive it, and if he sees openings, to drive through them himself. Well, you saw last night you weren't going to dribble very far on that pitch. So you took one of his major, game aspects, something that he excels at. You look at Gianluca Busio. I hadn't really gotten to see a lot of him. I'd read articles, but I hadn't seen much. Kid's big and strong. He's kind of got that Yaya Toure, like, get on either side of me because you're not going to be able to deal with me. I'm going to drive right through this hole and then I'm going to pick a pass. Well, you can't do that on a bobbling pitch. So he needed to kind of learn how to recycle, move that ball around differently. I think McKennie might have had a little bit more of the nous, the ability to recognize, hey, I can't have too many touches here, that sort of thing.
That shocked me last night, man, because that was one of the things that I was talking to our buddy about, is that it just seemed like we were really off sync with each other. Like the entire team just wasn't in sync, man. Here's what Io says. He says, the U.S. men's national team better hope that Tyler Adams is healthy all the time, because he may be the only person on that squad that can't adequately protect the back four. I totally agree. I hear what you're saying, Aaron, but I'm also a fan of the U.S. men's national team. And being a fan of the U.S. men's national team is kind of like being a Cleveland Browns fan. Because it's like, okay, we're doing great, but we're holding our breath, because it's like, what's going to happen next? What is going to happen? And once again, not meaning to switch sports, but here we are with the Cleveland Browns at 5-5. Mm-hmm. I'm just saying, the men's national team, that kind of made me nervous last night. Man.
Well, I think the main difference in this analogy is last night you had a majority of guys who are like 22, 23 years old on that field. There was not a lot of veteran status out there. I don't know how Zach Steffen is, but he's probably the most veteran player out there, and yet does not start on a regular basis for his club team. We're asking an awful lot of very young dudes who, yes, they're excellent players, but Christian Pulisic is surrounded by Athpilicueta, Giroud, guys, Conte, guys with a shit ton of experience that are the man for Chelsea and their national teams. Christian Pulisic, Weston McKennie, these guys are trying to get there.
Yeah.
It's funny that you bring up Reece James. Reece James is precisely what I'm talking about. Reece James is a guy who's good, up and coming, still young. And you can see that sometimes the national team is just a bit too much for him at times, unless there's the right guys around him. And, people ask the question, why is England playing San Marino for World Cup qualifying? Well, because San Marino is a European country and everybody gets a chance to qualify. But more importantly, this is an opportunity, much like the League Cup gets treated by the big clubs in England and other things like that. This is an opportunity to put out your second string guys, to play with your formation, to play with your strategy, to say, you know what, we're going to try something slightly different here, knowing that we should have the quality of just player on the field to see this team off. Yes. And the U.S. isn't in a place to do that just yet. We are still, what needs to happen is a core of 8 to 11 guys need to be on the field for 4 or 5 games in a row together. And that's incredibly hard to do at the international level because of timing, calendaring, and injuries that happen.
Yeah.
But you saw what happened on Friday night when our best 13 guys are available.
Oh, man.
US ain't nothing to fuck with.
Yeah, we're good to go. We're good to go. I think that secret sauce is beginning to simmer in the U.S. men's national team. So, ladies and gentlemen, I am extremely excited about our next segment because it's my favorite segment of our show. It is the Hey Aaron segment. And Aaron, man, I racked my brain about this and I was like, you know what, let's go Thanksgiving. Let's do this. I couldn't do it anymore. I just couldn't do it anymore, man. There was a news story that we talked about earlier. Mm-hmm. And my youngin loves Japanese anime. So tonight, what we're going to do is it's going to be one of those fun nights where Aaron, what are you going to say?
There better not be any tentacle porn coming up, man. Just saying.
No.
Just saying.
That is, what is that one?
Hold on real quick. I want to rile up our boy. Do you think IO, what was really missing last night was the American Osanen was not available, otherwise known as the opposite of the Nigerian Jazzy Zares.
I would say send a link to him, man. Get him on here. Let's go, IO.
He knows what I'm saying.
Oh, okay. All right. No, there is no tentacle porn. I promise. None. I know. That's for after hours. That's
That's late night with the Evan and Aaron show.
But no, we're talking cosplay, okay? And I started looking and was like, okay, this is absolutely hilarious. So these are the segments I love, is where you just give your commentary. All right. I have pictures of the absolutely worst cosplay outfits of all time.
Are they all from Indianapolis Comic-Con?
Pretty much. He said, why are you trying to fight? So we're going to take a look at this. And ladies and gentlemen, your laughter, please weigh in on these. But I am excited about hearing what you have to say about this, Aaron. So without any further ado,
any further Freddie ado.
There you go. I'm going to share my screen with you, my friend. And here we go. The worst cosplay costumes of all time. First up, we have a Star Wars medley for you, my friend.
I mean, it could kind of be worse.
Really?
I gotta give R2D2 credit. He's gone minimalist. He's gone very minimalist. C3PO looks like he took either a soccer ball or a volleyball and just kind of cut. So he's definitely using a pie plate for the middle thing. And
gotta be. What is this?
Chewbacca. That's all his wiring.
Yeah, but what I'm saying is Jeremy Sweeney, you have got to weigh on this one. He is our resident Star Wars fan. This is bad. I want to hear what you have to say about good old Chewbacca.
Well, that's just hysterical to me. That's honestly, that's the worst of the three. He looks like he's a knockoff like Santa. Like I've got a way too small bag. I got a beard that's not right. My shoes are all fucked up. I don't know what's going on down there. I'll give him credit. At least he went for the bandolier.
Yeah, there you go.
Vibe.
He reminds me of like Borat if he was trying to be, it's like.
Well, I mean, he's gone to this trouble that like why not get some big furry gloves or something? Like you've invested a little. Like the guy in the middle, I like the most because he said, you know what? I am not going to bust my ass for this, but I'm still going as R2D2. So he found a thing. That's clearly a laundry hamper.
It is. It so is.
But dude. I kind of have respect for it. The other two just fucked up.
Yeah, they did, man. Yeah, they did. All right, here we go. Next one. Wow.
Again, not great. But what I'll say is they committed to the bit. They went as a family. I'm a little sad that there's no Maggie.
Oh yeah, that's true. Yes.
I mean, you could have just bought a baby doll and dressed it up as Maggie.
Yeah.
I mean, this is one of the situations where if you aren't, a Hollywood level makeup artist, then you kind of left doing your own thing. They committed with the yellow skin. The little boy's hair needs to be a bit spikier. Lisa's the standout here. She needs a little saxophone.
Yes.
So far they're better than the previous one.
All right, next. Here we go.
I hope this man is in on the joke. That's all I'm saying. I do like the butterfly crafting piece that he's put on. I swear that he's wearing like a woman's Sunday morning hat.
Oh my god!
But the forks are a good touch. The forks are a good touch.
The forks, man. Oh my god, that's hilarious right there. That's quality. I'll have to give it up. All right, next.
Yeah, sometimes you can't just rely on the costumes at the store. I mean, that's
so bad.
And admittedly, the way Iron Man has developed, in the Marvel universe and his costume is pretty badass. So trying to replicate it, I mean, that guy clearly went with the Mark I attempt.
Right. But this is actually a person that was participating in Comic-Con. Like this guy went all out, bro.
Yeah.
Like that. I love this look right here.
Yeah, like I got nothing. I got nothing for you.
Got nothing for you, man. All right, next.
That's fucking Ron Jeremy.
Yes, it is, my friend.
This photo got like 10 times creepier. You know that he was wearing this for probably a photo shoot where he's like banging Princess Peach.
Yes, right. He's like, I'm a plumber.
Now, what's awesome is if you're familiar with your porn stars, you know that he can go directly from Mario Brothers to Sonic the Hedgehog.
Oh my god!
Yeah.
See, that's why I love this. That's why I love this segment, brother. There you go. That's why I love it. This is Ron Jeremy.
Come for the YouTube extra content. Stick around for Aaron understanding the nicknames of porn stars that are in lawsuits right now.
There you go. That's it. Last but not least, my friend, here you go. Wow.
Okay, let's just start from left to right here.
Yes, please.
First off, you've got Discount Derpender on the far left in the background there, who's like,
no.
Seriously, y'all, I roll with Deadpool, and your
He's like,
costumes,
no, thank you.
your costumes
No,
are stupid. Captain America looks like he has never heard of Captain America, and someone described it to him. Actually, it's like somebody described Captain America to his mother, and his mother then described Captain America to this man's wife, and then this man's wife described Captain America to him and said, "Go as Captain America."
Okay.
Yeah, he's got a frisbee. Oh my! Can you imagine having a vibranium frisbee though? That'd be kind of baller.
That would be.
Then you've got young George Lucas peering over his shoulder saying, "I want no fucking part of this." Then you've got, he tried for Thor. He tried. I will give him that. I'm not at all sure what is going on with the headwear. He's got long hair. He's got big arms. He's doing okay with that. I'm not sure what's written on.
I don't know.
And it looks like it says Thur, not Thor.
Thur. There you go. Wow.
I honestly, I feel like the next guy is a joke that I'm not getting. Because
this is Iron Man.
But it's Jose Cuervo and Captain Morgan and Bacardi.
And Bacardi, man. Right there.
Clearly he was like, fuck it, I'm making a costume and I'll go along with it.
He's like, these guys told me about this at 5:00 today. I can't, this is what I got. Sorry. Oh.
But we're saving the best for last here.
Oh my God, dude.
Because this guy obviously thought, you know what? I'm going to go get a Green Man suit. All right, you did that. But if you're going to be the Hulk, you probably should have, I don't know. Like, I understand drawing the muscles and the abs on, but maybe like tuck some small pillows or something in there. At least go get you a pair of shitty cut off denim jeans to wear, since the Hulk. Right now, you are an anatomically incorrect thin Hulk. You look like the inverse of what happened. Yeah, like
Hulk. There you go.
When Bruce Banner tries to get angry but can't, so he just kind of turns green, but his body doesn't get any bigger. He looks like Bruce Banner got frozen in that spot, and then he went, you know what? Fuck it, I don't have a dick anymore either. This is a transitioning Hulk.
Yes. There you go.
And by the way, the goggle eye, the little buggy eye things are not helping.
That's freaky. That is freaky. Ladies and gentlemen, there you go. A trip down cosplay universe with Aaron. That was our Hey Aaron segment, dude. That was that was pathetic. That was pitiful, but I was so glad for your commentary, my friend. Ladies and gentlemen, this is the end of the show. Thank you very much for joining us tonight in our we just winged it tonight. Had a good time. I laughed really hard. I'm like crying. It's great. But this is my second favorite part of the show, where Aaron gets to send us out with Aaron's final thoughts. Ladies and gentlemen, it's been a pleasure. Aaron, my friend, I love you, bud. And what do you got for us tonight?
I love you back, and it's always a pleasure. I'm glad some people made it to join in there and got to have a little fun with this toward the end there. It's easy to watch the news and kind of get down about things. It's easy to say, oh, you know what, we're not in power, and these dark forces are around us. And it's true. It's true. And it's not something to ignore. But as we head into the holidays here, I think what's really important to remember is that those closest to us do share our values, even though they might not. And Evan and I both know people that did not vote the way we did. And I know they're good people and they know we're good people. And that's the kind of stuff that we can't lose sight of. That's the kind of stuff that we have to continue highlighting. We have to highlight the things that are bringing us together. The fact that there was a bipartisan infrastructure bill that's meant to benefit all of us. Okay. There's not a bridge in New Jersey that only Republicans or Democrats get to drive across. That bridge is for everybody. This bill is for everyone. So just keep that in the front of your mind, that ultimately most of us want the same things, and the people shouting the loudest, shouting the craziest, I'm not saying ignore them, but man, they're giving you all the fodder you need to counterbalance that, to talk to your friends and family who inadvertently help them get to power and say, look, I'm not gonna tell you you're a bad person. Not gonna tell you that you're responsible for this, but you can do something about it. And we can either go into the holidays dreading a conversation with Uncle Jim Bob, or we can prepare ourselves and say, hey, this is where we really are. Let's cut out all the noise. Let's cut out all the chatter and talk about what's real here. And what's real is we're sitting down again together at dinner, sharing a meal, and we want good things for one another. And that's the best place to start. It's not easy. I'm not going to pretend it is. And if you got to sneak away and hit the vape or have a shot, maybe eat an edible, whatever you got to do.
All three.
To get through. Yeah. I don't recommend it. You're gonna start. You better eat a lot of turkey so you can blame some tryptophan when you decide to just pass out on the couch rando because your edible kicked in. But keep your head up. Remember that for all the crazy, by and large, most of us do want the same thing. Most family does want the same thing. And a few have just been led astray. And you can do your part. I'm not saying it's your job to tether them to earth. But a little bit goes a long way. And if they care about you, they'll listen. And if you care about them, you'll listen. And hopefully over a third or fourth piece of pumpkin pie or Patti LaBelle sugar cream pie, you make just a little bit of little bit of progress. So keep your heads up, folks. Evan, are we back next Wednesday or are we taking it off?
I think we're going to take next Wednesday off, guys.
Yeah.
We may have a little, I don't know, we may have a little pre-recorded type.
Might have a little quick something. I know I got to start prepping for cooking and everything on Thursday.
I got pies to break, brother. I got pies to break.
I got a ham to break out and get it ready so I can smoke it on Thursday morning. And but yeah. So yeah, I think we'll take next week off and we'll be back in a couple weeks, folks. So enjoy your holidays. Hug your family members.
Yep.
And Evan.
Yo. You know what I'm getting ready to say, y'all.
What do black people need to do?
Black people need to vote.
Black people need to vote. Everybody needs to vote. Love y'all. Sláinte. Till then.